Hi there guys, welcome to today's lesson. In this lesson we're going to be looking at multiplying two two-digit numbers together using the grid method like what we did yesterday to consolidate our learning. So pause the video here, write today's date, underline it and then write the I can underneath it. Okay, so now that you've done the date in the I can, complete the warm-up in your books like you did yesterday. So remembering when you're adding fractions and the denominators are the same, keep the denominator the same and then just add the numerators. Pause the video here whilst you complete the warm-up. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So 2/5 add 2/5 is 4/5, because 2 add 2 is 4, and then the denominator stays the same. 1/6 add 2/6 equals 3/6, which is the same as a half. And then we've got 6/7, and then 2/4, which is also the same as a half. Correct. Tick those that you've got right and then make any corrections if you need to. So our key to success, let's just recap because it's the same as yesterday. So remembering to partition each number, then multiply each number together before then adding all of the answers together accurately. Okay then, let's have a look at the recap of like we did yesterday. So we've got 35 multiplied by 22. So I'm going to partition 35, which would then be 30 and 5. I'm then going to partition 22, which would be 20 and then 2. Multiply all these together, so 20 multiplied by 30, that would be 2 times 3, which is 6, 2 zeros on the end, 600. Then got 20 multiplied by 5, so 2 times 5 is 10, with the extra 0, 100. And then 30 multiplied by 2, which is 60, and then 2 times 5, which is 10. And now that I have those four answers, I can add those together, and then adding those together I could use the column method to help me if I needed to, would be 770. Now I know that yesterday we had grids available to use if we wanted to, however it's a really good skill to get into the habit of when drawing these grids out, because then that way if we are coming across multiplying sort of 2 digits by 2 digits or 3 digits by 2 digits, then this is a really good skill to use if you need it. Let's have a look at another example. So pause the video here and have a go at this question. So don't forget first of all to partition both numbers. So partitioning 53 would be 50 and then 3, and then partitioning 45 would be 40 and then 5. Now multiplying those together, so 40 times 50, did you do 4 times 5 and then with the extra 2 zeros on the end? That would make 2000, because 4 times 5 is 20, with the extra 2 zeros, 2000. Then 40 times 3, 4 times 3 is 12, with the extra 0 would make 120. 5 times 50, 250, then 5 times 3, 15. Adding all those together, did you use the column method? Have you checked through your answers to make sure that you're adding those accurately? If you did, you'd get 2,385. Now, if you feel confident with this and you want to move on to the fluency and the problem solving, that's absolutely fine, you can do this. However, if you want to go through another example with me, then you can stay on this slide and work through this one with me. So first of all, I'm going to draw out that table like I've got here. Now, partition both numbers. So what would 58 partition to? What two numbers added together make 58? 50 and 8. Now, when you partition 32, what would you get? 30 and 2. Wicked. Right, so 30 multiplied by 50, if you do 3 times 5 and then put 2 zeros on the end, what do you get? So 3 times 5 is 15, with those 2 extra zeros, 1,500. 30 times 8, do 3 times 8, and then put the extra 0 on the end. You get 240, because 8 3s are 24, and then with the extra 0, because 30 is 10 times greater, 240. Then 2 times 50 would be 100, and then 2 times 8 would be 16. So now that you've got those 4 answers, what are you going to do? You're going to need to add those 4 numbers together. So what method might you use to help you to solve this accurately? Yep, you might use the column method. So once you've used the column method and you've added those together, you should get 1,856. Okay, so follow those steps through quite religiously, so meaning don't miss out any steps when you go on to the Fluency. If you want to have a look at one more example, you can stay on this slide. If you don't want to, remember you can fast forward until you get to the Fluency part. So 83 multiplied by 26. So first of all, draw out your grid. Partition 83, which would be 80 and 3. Then partition 26. That would be 20 and 6. Now multiply 20 and 80 together. Remember to do 2 times 8, and then with the 2 extra zeros, what would you get? You'd get 1,600. What would you get when you multiply 20 by 3? You'd get 60. What would you get if you multiplied 80 by 6? You'd get 480. And then what would you get when you multiply 6 and 3 together? You'd get 18. So now with those 4 numbers, what are you going to do? You're going to add those together. What method are you going to use to add those together? You're going to use the column method. Pause the video here while she adds those 4 numbers together. So your answer should be 2,158. Let's have a look at the Fluency then. So, if you need to draw out the grids, go for it. It's definitely a good skill to get into the habit of using. However, if you wanted to use the grids that are found in the support and scaffold area, please do so. Pause the video here whilst you solve these Fluency questions. Here are your answers. Make sure you go through any that you feel that you've got incorrect to check to find any mistakes should you need to throughout each step. Remember, it's really important to be accurate because one mistake will affect the whole thing. So let's have a look at an example of problem solving. So, an example that you might come across might be something like this, where you have some missing numbers. So you can see that there's a missing number in the first column where there's the question mark, and you can see that there's a missing number in the column next to the 2. So I have to think to myself and use my knowledge of times tables. What do I multiply by 3 to get 6? So if I did my 3 times table, how many multiples would I count until I got to 6? Well, that would be 2, because 2 times 3 is 6. However, I've got 1 0 on the end of 30, but I've got 2 zeros on the end of 600. So that means that the 2 also needs to have a 0, because I need 2 zeros in total. And so that would mean that that first missing number is 20. So now that I've found that missing number on the top of the grid, I can now use that to help me to solve the missing number inside the grid. So what is 20 multiplied by 2? 20 multiplied by 2 would be 40. Now if I add all those numbers together, I would get 800. And this is an example of something you'll come across in your problem solving. Pause the video here and solve the problem solving questions provided. So now that we've ended this lesson, we've had a look over the last couple of days at using the grid method to multiply two digits numbers together. This is one strategy that you can use. However, tomorrow and on Thursday we're going to be looking at another strategy, which is the use of the column method. So for example, if I'm going to multiply 35 and 31 together, and I've set it out into the column method, I'm going to multiply 35 by the ones column underneath, which is the 1. So 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 times 1 is 3. So 35 times 1 is 35. Now I'm going to put a placeholder into the ones column, because I'm going to be doing 35 multiplied by 30, so that means there needs to be a 0 at the end. So 5 times the 3 in the number underneath would be 15. And then 3 times 3 is 9, add the extra 1 is 10. So now that I've got those two answers, I can add them together to find my answer. So 5 add 0 is 5, 3 add 5 is 8, and then I have the 10. So 35 multiplied by 31 is 1085. This is a strategy that we're going to have a look at tomorrow. Until then, if you need any further support, don't forget to contact your teacher, or if you want to practice some more fluency questions for the grid method, you can see the support and scaffold area, or if you want any additional challenges, you can see the stretch folder in Teams. Until tomorrow guys, see you later.